welcome everyone here. This is the Sex Respect Coalition. My name is Mike Konufke. I'm with the San Antonio Family Association, just one of the many associations fighting this. And we're fighting not necessarily the school district. What we're fighting is we take exception to some of the curriculum, and in particular, this vendor. We'd like to start off like we do all our meetings with prayer and pledge. So I ask Valerie Garcia from the San Antonio Family Association to come up and lead us with prayer and pledge. Valerie?
Okay, we'll start with the pledge. I'll start with prayer. Okay, thank you. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. May God grant us the wisdom to discover the right, the will to choose it, and the strength to make it endure for the sake of children and long-term domestic prosperity. Amen.
Amen.
And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You can have a seat.
Thank you, Valerie. I want to start off this meeting thanking you for being here today, and especially for the individuals that put this together. And I'd like to start off with welcoming anyone from the Northeast Independent School District Board, or any employees of Northeast Independent School District, or volunteers.
Or SHAC.
Huh?
Or SHAC.
Or SHAC. Just so you know, we have invited them, and just so that we can get their understanding. So we certainly would want to welcome them. It's wonderful to see you here today, and of course the concern for children hits us all, children, grandchildren. For the record, we do not believe that there is a conspiracy here. So if you're looking for a conspiracy, you need to look somewhere else. We don't think that's the case here. Maybe a lapse of good judgment, derelict of duty by the board, for instance. We do believe the decision was made without facts, and we believe it was made with suppositions, opinions, perhaps even a public favor, directly or indirectly from the SHAC, which is the Student Health Advisory Committee. The ethics for the school trustee board members, they take very seriously. We don't believe that they slough it off. The purpose of the trustee and the board of trustees, if you don't know, is to set policy. That policy needs to be congruent with their mission and their vision statements. So that's what they do. Having said that, one does wonder why the trustees could vote on something like draw the line and respect the line, while at the same time honoring their code of ethics. And I'm going to read the code of ethics in full to you here right now. I will tell the truth, that's number one. Number two is I will share my views while working for consensus. I don't have an objection to that, that's two. Number three is I will respect the majority decision as the decision of the board. Yeah, so you don't want an outlier, messing up the board. I can appreciate that. The last one, I wonder, I will base my decisions on fact rather than suppositions, opinions, and public favor. So, like the old Wendy's commercial, right? Where's the beef? You guys remember that? Where's the beef? We believe the trustees should have been asking, where are the facts? Where's the data? You see, the data have not been forthcoming, at least not to us parents. We don't know. We have come to learn that the Northeast Independent School District, via the Student Health Advisory Committee, that's the SHAC, was looking for a sexual education program, and it took them 3 years, a very arduous task. We don't deny the fact that it was an arduous task, but stop right there. You see, because we, as a coalition, have asked a simple question, and that question is, why? Why are we looking to change? And to this day, we haven't received any response whatsoever. And why this particular program? Because a lot of us object to this particular program. I'll give you a quick example. If your neighbor came to you and said, hey, Kelly, you need new tires, what's the first thing she's going to say? well, what makes you think these are all worn out and unsafe to drive? Isn't she going to ask that question of me? Yeah. She's going to ask herself that question. Why are we changing this? And we don't have the response. So we have said, hey, look, Northeast Independent School District, you need to tell us where is the empirical evidence that indicates that we need this. You see, because we know in the city of San Antonio, teen pregnancy rates have not dramatically changed in the last 30 to 40 years. We know that. So what's the problem? We asked for the data. Of course, we didn't get it. So what precipitated this, we really don't know, but what I'd like to do is just talk a little bit about impressions. Many of us have learned about impressions in marketing and things of this nature. And these impressions leave marks in our brains. And an example lately is Facebook. You know, if you are on Facebook, you see all your friends and family, they're doing all these magnificent things. And you look at yours like, man, I'm a loser, right? But it's just an impression. It's a perceived impression. But here's what we know about that in marketing. The perceived impression to them is reality. So, is it possible that the Northeast Independent School District has a false perception of reality when it comes to the sex education? We believe the answer to that is yes. So what we hope to do today, in just 2 seconds here, is answer these 4 questions for you. First, is there evidence to indicate that there is a real need for this program? You'll know whether or not that's true. The second is, what should be taught to 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, and 13-year-olds in grades 6, 7, and 8? You'll have a better understanding for that. The third, does draw the line, respect the line, which is the name of this new program, step over the line for you and your family, your loved ones? And the fourth is, of the 37 evidence-based programs approved in the state of Texas, why this one? Now, we're confident that at the end of the day, you're going to agree with us that there are just nothing but a bunch of questions. So, lastly, I'd just like to mention, it's important to mention, that we have gone to the Northeast Independent School District and we've asked, okay, we don't like this program, we don't like this part. Oh, we're taking that out. We don't like this part. Okay, we're taking that out. We don't like this part. No, we're not going to address that. We're done. We don't know what they're taking out. The fact is, they haven't provided that. We've asked them to give us the exact curriculum they're going to teach, and we haven't received it. We asked that again even last week, late last week, still haven't received it. This email that went out yesterday said that we're spreading lies. We are not spreading lies. We really sincerely want to address the things that are in the curriculum. We have no idea what that is. The only thing they've done is sent us to the vendor, and we ordered what they told us to order. But we do know the board approved the whole thing. So let's start off with introducing Kelly Gretchel. If you don't know Kelly, she is a concerned mother, super mother, I call her. 3 children, and she is very passionate about this. She's the one that actually brought a lot of this to our attention. So, Kelly, give us some a little bit better overview of the program.
Thank you, Mike. All right, guys, if I can turn your attention, you have a folder in your hand. In this folder, just a little housekeeping here, I'll have to have back because we only have so many copies, and for copyright issues, we don't want any of this leaving this room. But I encourage you to look through it. It's basically the large copies of all the things we're going to talk about here in the PowerPoint, but it's kind of hard to read it, so I decided I would give it to you. So feel free to look through that and kind of read in more detail if you'd like to. Okay. We're going to cover a lot of information, and it will be impossible for us to talk about this. As Mike mentioned, it's been 3 years in the making. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us or even visit our website. We talk about a lot of those questions on there. All right, so what is going on? Let's look at the timeline of kind of how this went down. So the first thing you have is the Student Health Advisory Committee, the SHAC, and it recommends the sex ed programs. And they recommended draw the line, respect the line. Okay. And when they recommend that, the whole SHAC votes, and then from that vote, it goes to the school board. At the school board level, they get a presentation, and they decide whether or not they want it, and they either adopt it or they don't. In this case, they adopted it. It will be implemented in 2016-2017 school year, and the parents will all receive an opt-in or an opt-out form, so you do have the choice to be a part of it or not. Okay, so what does Northeast ISD want to teach? And that's something that Mike brought up earlier. The fact is, we're not 100% sure. We know for fact that they adopted the Draw the Line, Respect the Line curriculum, so we purchased it in full. And I went through it page by page so that we're very, very familiar with it. Also, they said that there might be a few adaptions. What adaptions, we're not sure. Again, they have not let us know what those adaptions are. However, they did send out an email, some of y'all may have received it. And in the email, they do talk about a few things that they promise to teach. They promise that the district will present only factual definitions of all types of sex. That's interesting. So that students understand none is a safe option and there are consequences associated with engaging in each type of sexual activity. And then we also have down here, students will receive guidelines on the use of a condom as provided by the Center of Disease Control. So we will be talking about condoms. We will go over how to use one. Okay, the state of Texas has rules that and a code that they follow. All sex ed programs must follow this code. And here we are right here. And I believe you might have a copy of it here in your folder. If you don't, I have some in the back. Basically, this is the Texas Education Code 28.004. And we'll start with number 2 here. You must devote more attention to abstinence from sexual activity than any other behavior. Direct adolescents to a standard of behavior in which abstinence from sexual activity before marriage is the most effective way to prevent pregnancy, STDs, and HIV. And number 5 down here, we have teach contraception and condom use in terms of human use and reality rates. What does that mean? Well, human use is usually has plenty more variables than a lab result. So you might see condoms are 98% effective. Sure, if you're in a laboratory, but not in the real world. So Texas code mandates that you teach it as real world levels, which is not 98% effectiveness. If instruction of contraception and condoms is included in the curriculum. You do not have to teach condoms, but if you do, that's what you need to teach it as. And it also says at the very bottom, a school district shall make all curriculum material used in the district human sexuality instruction available for reasonable public inspection. So we hope that they will eventually give us an opportunity to look at the whole thing in full. So does Draw the Line, and I'm going to refer to it as DTL, does DTL comply with this law? Is abstinence emphasizes the preferred choice? Is abstinence set as the expected standard or behavior of unmarried students? Is more attention devoted to condoms? Is condom effectiveness portrayed in human use reality or overemphasized as safe sex? Those are questions we want y'all to keep in mind, and y'all be able to answer them on your own by the end of this presentation. Okay, here are the 3 books. I want to show this picture because this is the age group we're working with. 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds. We're not talking about 17-year-olds or 18-year-olds who can drive and have jobs. We're talking about children here, and that's an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, at all 3 grade levels, Draw the Line treats sex as an eventuality that a child should be ready for by protecting themselves with condoms. In reality, sex under 13 is illegal. Penal Code 22.11 has determined without exception that a minor cannot consent to sex at the vulnerable age of 12. This law was put into place to protect children from being exploited and abused. It makes a lot of sense, because if you have a 9-year-old having sex, she might have some problems. In fact, in general, a minor under the age of 17 cannot consent to sex, and we all kind of know that rule. A curriculum that truly wanted to protect children would reinforce these laws and help students understand when and where to go for help. If you have a 12-year-old who is having sex, it is possible that they are being exploited or abused or coerced in some fashion. So it's important that the curriculum doesn't say, hey, you're having sex and you're confused, here's a condom. In fact, they should say, you're having sex and you're confused, we might need to look at what's going on here, perhaps there's something more serious. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Patrick now, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the shocking parts of this curriculum.
It's easy to use condoms. When you know the right way to use them, they're more effective. And I guarantee that sex is better when both you and your partner know what you're doing with the condom. Both men and women need to know how to use condoms. So let's go over it. I'm going to show you how to put a condom on a partner, but these are the same steps that a guy would take when putting a condom on himself. Always use a latex condom. They're highly effective at preventing pregnancy, HIV, and other STDs. If you or your partner is allergic to latex, you can use a plastic condom instead. Check the expiration date on the package. If it's past the date, use a newer condom. The package should look new. If it looks worn or damaged, use a new condom. Press slightly on the package to make sure that it's airtight, with no holes or tears. If there's a leak of any kind, use a new condom. When you finish checking the package, you're ready to open the condom. Open it carefully. Teeth, fingernails, and other sharp objects can damage the condom. Take it out of the package and see which way it unrolls. The condom will unroll easily when it's facing this way, but not when it's facing this way. The condom goes on as soon as the penis is hard and erect. Let me get my assistant. Pinch the tip to leave about ½ an inch at the end. This leaves room for the semen so that the condom doesn't break when the man ejaculates. Hold it against the head of the penis. Then with your other hand, unroll it all the way down to the base of the penis. You can use some water-based lube on the outside of the condom now if you want. And that's it. After ejaculation, after the guy comes, take the penis out while it's still hard. Pull the rim of the condom around the base as it's pulled out. Be careful not to spill any semen. Take the condom off away from the partner's body. You can tie off the end and throw it in the trash. Don't flush it down the toilet. That can clog up the plumbing. If you're going to have sex again, use a new condom. Don't ever reuse a condom. How easy was that? Some condoms come lubricated, and others don't. Even with a lubricated condom, you might want to use some extra lube. Don't use oil-based lubes like Vaseline or lotion. Those can cause the condom to break. Be sure to use water-based lubes, like these. Some guys like to put a few drops in the tip before putting the condom on. But don't overdo it. Too much lube can make the condom fall off. Practice will help you feel comfortable and confident when using a condom. So make sure to get in lots of practice. Men can practice while masturbating. Women can use their imagination and practice on something that sort of looks like a penis. Remember, condoms help prevent pregnancy and STD, including HIV. Use a condom every time you have sex. Relax, stay safe, and have fun.
Well, good morning. Oh, let me grab some real quick. Good morning. As you can see, this video is published by ETR. ETR is a production company for Draw the Line, Respect the Line, the new sex ed curriculum that Northeast ISD Independent School District approved unanimously on May 9th. And at that time, we did not have this information. It was after they made the approval that we got the information and saw these videos. Now, in full disclosure, Northeast Independent School District says that they're not going to use the video. However, in the vote on May 9th that they took, the curriculum was approved unanimously and carte blanche, holistically. So no motions were made to restrict any of the curriculum or tools that ETR would provide. They might not be used, and Northeast ISD might be saying it correctly. They're not going to use it. We don't know that because we haven't been informed of that. So, but one observation, lots of observations can be made about the video, but one in particular that struck me was when the man's penis becomes erect. We're dealing with children here. I thought this was an educational video for children, 11 to 13, 11 to 14, not for men, and not for girls that are having relations with men. So that in itself is problematic on a legal grounds, as Kelly mentioned. That information also comes in a kit containing a couple of the documents. You can view them back on the boards in the back. But two that are really troubling is, this is the inside of them, but here, as you can see up here, I might not be able to read it, but I want to read it to you because psychologically, this is very important. It says, using condoms is like learning to wear a seatbelt all the time. It takes practice to make it a habit. It takes practice to make it a habit.
what's the message here to children, to students? The message is to practice, to do this, that this is healthy and expected, instead of a situation in which abstinence is being made. And on this, then continuing on this diagram on this particular piece, under condom facts, on the back of it, something very troubling says, ask your healthcare provider about emergency contraceptive pills. They can prevent pregnancy if a condom breaks. The question is, why are they promoting a form of chemical contraceptive here that is very damaging? This would be something called Plan B. And emergency contraceptive pill, Plan B, does two things at once. It kills the embryo, the fetus that's been conceived, and it flushes it from the woman's system all at one time. So this is a drug that causes a chemical abortion. It does not say, talk to your parents. That's a huge problem here, and that's one of our issues with this. As a parent of 9 children, 7 of them attending Northeast Independent School District schools, is very concerning, and I know it will be to you. So why the need for this parent education tomorrow? Mike touched on this a little bit, because all a parent needs to do is opt out of this program, and you'll see that later. And that's what we've done. My wife and I have opted out of our children, out of every program, sex ed program, and even though they were abstinence focused, this particular one is not abstinence focused. It's abstinence plus, emphasis on plus, and less than 50% of it is covering abstinence. Northeast Independent School District is the local public authority in this means. And so they're the ultimate authority in making this decision for what's going to be taught. However, the ultimate authority really lies with parents. That's why you have independent school districts, for local control. And so and thanks to Kelly and bringing this to the attention of the coalition, we came about, we brought information to the board, and went to the SHAC meeting that they approved it, and then they took it to the board meeting, the Board of Trustees, on May 9th to approve it. This information was presented, and our local representatives, Senator Don Campbell, I don't know if you have that slide or not, Bill, in the packet. Okay, so in your packet you'll see this. There's a letter from Senator Don Campbell and State Board of Education, District 5, Ken Mercer, expressing their own concern with this curriculum. So you can look at that on your own. But Northeast Independent School District has a mission statement. And it says, we challenge and encourage each student to achieve and demonstrate academic excellence, technical skills, and responsible citizenship. So what's responsible citizenship? I summarize it as a trustworthy Texan. And a trustworthy Texan is someone who learns to do the right thing at all times, and even when it's difficult. So who has rights in this situation? Well, children have rights. They have a right to be protected, and their safety and self-defense, and they have a right to a virtuous education that would teach them objective truth. Well, Northeast Independent School District says they teach them life skills to help them throughout their life, to give them the skills. As a matter of fact, on May 9th, when they approved this curriculum, they said these are life skills that children need to know about now that will serve them for the rest of their life. So pretty preposterous from that standpoint in light of the curriculum that we learned about. Who else has rights? Well, parents. That's why you're sitting here. The ultimate authority lies with parents. And so thank you very much for being here. And one of the greatest concerns in this curriculum is the fact that parents seem to be circumvented. When there's a problem with a condom breakage, or there's any other problem, the encouragement is to go see a health professional or someone else other than a parent. Now, again, that's an information that Northeast Independent School District doesn't say will be presented, but other information in the curriculum that Kelly will go through, or has gone through, will show also. It says go to a health professional, not to the parents. So where is the right of the parents? So where does the legitimate authority lie? Some would say, particularly in Asian countries, would claim on a mandate from heaven. So who's ever heard of a mandate from heaven? Mandate from heaven comes really from usually aristocracy, where they claim that they had a mandate to make decisions on that by living a virtuous life, by implementing virtuous and helpful, responsible protocols and laws that would help people. And not that they would claim it, Northeast Independent School District actually could have probably done that because they do good things. They teach good things. The virtues and everything they teach, that we'll get to in just a second, have been very good. However, in this case, we believe they might have stepped over the line and actually have stepped over the line, in which they lost any mandate they had for authority on this issue, and parents need to take it back in their hands. So, what are some of those life lessons taught by the Northeast Independent School District? Their virtues or habits that are taught. A lot of them stem from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and they call it 7 Habits of Happy Kids in targeting students. And so, be proactive. I'm in charge. You're in charge. The child's in charge. Do they teach that at all school levels? Yes, elementary, middle school, and high school. Begin with the end in mind, have a plan. Yes, they teach it in every school level. Put first things first, work first, then play. They teach it. They do teach that, and they teach it at every school level. Think win-win, where everyone can win. They teach that, and at every school level. And these also seek first to understand, then to be understood. Listen before you talk. And synergize. Together is better. Sharpen, and the last one, sharpen the saw. Balance is best. Each of those they teach at elementary school level, middle school, and high school. And that's all very good. The other things they teach are leading at the speed of trust, a continuation of the 7 habits. Then they go to the virtues like compassion, responsibility, perseverance, self-discipline, honesty, respect, and giving. And particularly responsibility, perseverance, and self-discipline, and honesty, those in particular will serve them well for all their life, and particularly when it comes to sex and sexual education. The point here is that it proves to be intellectually honest and scholastically consistent, and that's a good thing. So why the divergence when it comes to sex? If you go to the next slide. And you have this one, the examples of risk avoidance.
Yes.
Okay, a little different format here, but when they evaluated, when Student Health Advisory Council, SHAC, when they took this on, they looked at, we had but previously there was a curriculum called Choose the Best Path, was abstinence only. And Choose the Best Path has recently come to our attention that it's actually evidence-based. So again, why didn't the SHAC know this? If it was evidence-based and they're looking for an evidence-based curriculum, why they need to move? Why they need to spend the taxpayer money? And it's abstinence only and evidence-based. It's actually much more in line with the virtues we just talked about of responsibility and self-discipline. So SHAC began 3 years ago, as Mike mentioned, of looking at going to a sexual risk reduction program. So over here on the left is a sexual risk avoidance, SRA, sexual risk avoidance, or abstinence program. And on the right, SRR, is a sexual risk reduction comprehensive plan. So they had a reason for looking for that. We don't know what it is. They told us it's because they wanted an evidence-based program. Lo and behold, we found out just days ago that Choose the Best Path, the previous program, is considered an evidence-based program and approved as such. But what's the difference? In reality, let me give you some examples of risk avoidance. Risk avoidance is absence or elimination of risk. So here's some examples. School interest only. So how many you take your children to school in the morning and you have a one-way drive? That's risk avoidance to help protect safety. So one-way child drop-off. Immunizations. Lice-free attendance. Lice-free children. Segregated grades, so 5th is with 5th, 6th is with 6th, 7th with 7th, 8th is with 8th. One-way lunch lines. No cheating. No smoking. No drugs. No bullying. No drinking and driving. No guns or knives, no texting and driving. Male bathrooms and female bathrooms are a form of risk avoidance. One-way streets. Those are all practical examples of what risk avoidance are a risk avoidance. So how do you take those and make them risk reduction? Well, the one-way child drop-off is a two-way child drop-off. And make sure you have a grill guard on your vehicle for protection for yourself. Lice-free attendance is attend school with a shower cap. That's risk reduction. So you leave risk avoidance and you go to risk reduction. No cheating is make sure if you cheat or share on a test, make sure you bring your page protector. No smoking cigarettes. Well, make sure you smoke filtered cigarettes. That's the difference between risk avoidance and risk reduction. Doesn't mean you're not going to do it. It means how you protect yourself if you choose to do that. No drugs. Well, they don't say if you're going to use drugs, then make sure you wear goggles. Protect your eyes. No drinking and driving. What's okay the reduction part of that is drink as long as you make sure the bottle's in a brown paper bag. No texting and driving is make sure your phone's in a phone case. And no male bathrooms, female bathrooms. you have unisex bathrooms. So you leave risk avoidance and you go to risk reduction. So you see the parallel there and how they change the mentality, the psychology of it. In sex, it is from no sex, you change it to, if you're going to have sex, make sure you use a latex condom. For middle schoolers, in this case. We're not talking about high school, they go into chemical contraceptives there, but in this case, for middle schoolers, they're promoting condoms. So risk avoidance is no sex, and risk reduction is if you're going to have sex, then make sure you're using a condom. And herein lies the problem. And that's what this goes through is abstinence focus is more than 50% of the page content is promoting abstinence. Now, Kelly reviewed this for you a few minutes ago, that actually is the law. Whether it's risk avoidance or risk reduction, the curriculum is supposed to be 50% or more based on abstinence. And what you'll find in the books that Mike's picking up right now is that they'll throw in the word abstinence in the book. Now, this curriculum is developed by ETR out of California and has been adopted by Northeast Independent School District. But in the book, it'll throw in abstinence on the pages so that they're covering their backside at the same time they're getting the message in there. Majority of the message, well over 50%, is focused on condoms. On sexual risk reduction, they tend to focus on less than 5% of the page content on abstinence, so it's much lower than Texas law allows. The focus on the sexual risk avoidance is risk elimination or abstinence, and the focus over here on risk reduction is contraceptive use. The message over here is focused, and it's that abstinence before marriage is the best choice. When you go to risk reduction, it's mixed. If you're going to have sex, condoms are an equally good choice. Abstinence is marginally better than having sex with contraception. So abstinence is marginally better than having sex with contraception. It's a huge paradigm shift. Psychologically, for children, especially for 11, 13, who have never been probably approached with this situation, some might have, because one of the things that Northeast School District focused on in our conversation with Dr. Brian Gotardi, the superintendent, was on what they call economically disadvantaged students, EDS. So in economically disadvantaged students, there's huge growth in those students that fit within that parameter, and that's a poverty line issue. And most of that is below 410, but Northeast Independent School District extends way down south, getting close to just north of downtown San Antonio. And so they say there's a huge growth in EDS, economically disadvantaged students. And in doing that, they're going to try to head off the problem at the pass, cut it off at the pass by implementing this program is one of the reasons they did state. Finishing up, the behavioral goal here on the avoidance part is to delay sexual initiation, preferably until marriage. And on the right side is focused, the goal is increased contraceptive use, in this case a condom for this. So just because the sex ed curriculum emphasizes abstinence does not mean that condoms are not discussed. And one of the things in talking with our legal counsel is that while they might not be violating the penal code on tools or the actual kit, they might be violating the penal code based on description. And that's another word to look for in the penal code is based on description. And by getting the Bexar County DA or any district attorney to prosecute this is a difficult matter. It's politically unpopular. If you go to the next one. So if 99% of the Northeast Independent School District's curriculum and promotion and education is based on absolutes, which include no exceptions, no permissiveness, and no tolerance, why the divergence when it comes to sex? Why is it necessary? Oh, well, they're going to do it anyway, is the response, right? Children are doing it anyway. Well, they might choose to drink, they might choose to smoke, they might choose to do a lot of different things. We don't have control of that. That doesn't change the Northeast Independent School District stance on teaching no drinking and driving, no drugs. They continue to stay focused on that message and don't give them exceptions. So why the divergence? Is there something more behind the scenes? Well, I don't know if I have this on here or not. This program this is the top one up here is choosing the best path, which was the previous one. And down here is draw the line, respect the line, the new curriculum that has been approved. We have found out, thanks to research, that ETR used to be directly associated with Planned Parenthood. And now they have an indirect association with Planned Parenthood. We have that documentation if you'd like to see it. So that in itself is very perplexing, and it does fit right in with this move from And sexual risk avoidance program to a sexual risk reduction program does fall in line with a Planned Parenthood business model. We're not saying that Northeast Independent School District is cooperating directly with Planned Parenthood, but this would be a model that Planned Parenthood has tried to implement throughout the state of Texas. As a matter of fact, back when George Bush was governor of Texas, Cecile Richards, who is president CEO of Planned Parenthood Federation, started a program called the Texas Freedom Network. And the Texas Freedom Network, their goal was to infiltrate student health advisory councils, to take them over and provide them a situation where they're promoting sexual intercourse and contraceptives. And that is in line, does seem to cooperate here. Not necessarily that the Northeast Independent School District is working with them, but it does seem to fall in line. So up here, the big things, I think Kelly will go into this more, but this actually comes from choosing the best path. So in full compliance, this information came from choosing the best path over the last couple of days when we received the information. They were also evidence-based. Is that choosing the best path, their evidence base shows that they have, I'm having a hard time reading that myself, they were all significantly more 1.5 times more likely to delay sexual initiation. And down here, in the evidence results that came, that they compiled and put into a summary from themselves, is that draw the line, respect the line, the new curriculum, is there's no statistically significant program that impacts those children. And Kelly will get into that more here in a few minutes. May 9th, if you'd like to see, is the agenda for the Northeast Independent School District School Board meeting. On here it states what the purpose of the vote was. And I'll read to you real quick. It says, this is under point number 10B, number 1. Possible action regarding, this is under campus administration. Number 1, possible action regarding School Health Advisory Council, SHAC, Middle School, Human Sexuality and Abstinence Education Recommendation. Presenter, Donna Newman, Associate Superintendent for Campus Administration and Human Resources, Rachel Naylor, Director, Physical Education, Health, and Athletics. That's all that says in there. So it's very general from that standpoint. It seems very innocuous. And you go to the Student Health Advisory Council piece here, and if they're not in your packets, and I'll be glad to share these with you, or show them to you. And it goes into, it's a one page, goes into the background of it a little bit. And then you go to the Board of Trustees minutes. This comes off the Northeast Independent School District's website. The vote that was taken says possible action regarding School Health Advisory Council, just the exact same thing I mentioned. And if you turn 2 pages, one page, that goes the recommendation by the School Health Advisory Council to replace our current middle school human sexuality and abstinence education curricula, withdraw the line, respect the line, is direct result of SHAC's systemic approach to keeping the human sexuality and abstinence education curricula up to date with laws, research, and district needs. The motion was made by Mrs. Sandy Wolf, seconded by Mr. Jim Wheat, to approve draw the line, respect the line curriculum to replace the current middle school human sexuality and abstinence education curriculum. That's all it says. There's no motion made to restrict the curriculum. So while they say that some of the tools they're not going to use, we don't know that. We have asked for the information. Matter of fact, they're in violation of the Freedom of Information Act in regards to that. So if you go to the next one. Okay, and finishing up, what are life skills for? Life skills are for teaching our children how to make good choices throughout their life, responsible choices, and help them become trustworthy Texans in this case, to fulfill Northeast ISD's mission. So what are the ramifications of teaching them life skills about sex before marriage is okay, and children believing that sex is okay? Well, contraception leads to a higher divorce rate. How many parents want to have their children experience a higher divorce rate? Not many, but introducing children to contraception as a normal course of life will lead to a higher, has scientifically, historically proven to a higher civil divorce rate. So I'll leave you with that thought is, what are the life skills to teach about? And why the divergence from the Northeast Independent School District stance when it comes from teaching everything else, risk avoidance, to changing it for sexual education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, if I can get y'all to turn in your packets to the story labeled Tina and Marco. I have highlighted some interesting information there. So Tina and Marco is in the 7th grade curriculum. And it is, 7th grade curriculum is focused a lot on sexual role plays. Now you would think that whenever, I don't know if y'all were in DARE when you were a little kid, but I was, and we would practice things like, saying no to drugs. In this curriculum, we actually practice how to have sex. So let's read a few of these things. So they're drinking some punch that has some alcohol in it. They're at somebody's house whose parents aren't home. Marco and his friends have been talking about doing it tonight. So he meets a girl named Tina that he knows, and he starts touching her. It feels good. And then Tina and Marco go to the bedroom. So they're lying on the bed, kissing and touching. They didn't really talk about having sex. It just happened. So this is something that if you were just a 12-year-old or 13-year-old and you had never even kissed a girl, here's part of a roadmap on how to do it. Our next lesson, and there's one more worksheet, and this will be in their workbooks. They also have student workbooks, and this will talk about what happens when a couple weeks later Tina is late on her period. What can we do there? And so now we've got to start going into Plan B or other kinds of contraceptive type things that parents might not be comfortable with. All right, next lesson, James and Alana. Alana has a friend named Lisa. She thinks it's smart and sexy to have sex. James has been thinking about it, so one day after school, they get together and James and Alana start touching. It feels great. Then James thinks this must feel as good to her as it does to me, otherwise she would tell me, right? We talk about a date rape culture in which we have a problem with children learning how to say no and the other person just assuming that it's yes until somebody says no. This is how we have that date rape culture, is we teach kids to keep doing it until somebody yells at you no. Next lesson, Trina and Kashid. They are two students who are dating. Trina has a fight. She goes over to Kashid's house. When Trina came over, they hung out for a while in the living room. Then Kashid put his arms around Trina and they began to kiss. They were both a little nervous at first, but pretty soon Kashid was touching Trina through her clothes. So it keeps going on, but then he noticed how much she was enjoying it and thought, she knew we'd be alone, maybe she wants it. Everybody seems to think it's what we're supposed to do. Maybe just this once it won't be a problem. The only reason they stop is because mom busts through the door. So again, we're supposed to have, by the Texas Code, more abstinence talked about, less of the safe sex business. But 3 out of 3 role plays are all about having sex. Interesting. Okay, so our parents' rights to be involved in their children's medical care being undermined and usurped by draw the line. So once children have been taught how to have sex through sexual role plays, condom demonstrations, draw the line gives you clinic options and anonymous hotline phone numbers. The curriculum does not list talking to your parents. It does not list talking to your parents. I 100% guarantee you I've been through all of it and labeled each section where it says parents. It is not listed there. Let's keep on going through that packet. So, you are in 7th grade and we are learning about STDs. You have an STD fact sheet. What can you do if you get an STD? Teens can go to a health clinic, go to a teen school clinic, go to a special STD clinic, or a regular doctor. Are there parents? No, no parents. Don't go to your parents if you think you might have something like AIDS. Just go to a doctor by yourself. STD homework info. This encourages you to either look at a website or call the CDC hotline and ask questions about STDs. Who are these people on the other end of the hotline? Have they been trained by Northeast ISD as to how they're supposed to talk to minors? Because there is some amount of training that goes into that. You can't just say whatever you want to say. Next one. Talk to a script. This is where the teacher actually speaks to the class and she says, as soon as something is wrong or you have unprotected sex, you should see a doctor. Not you should talk to your parents or an older sister or adult you trust. Nothing. You should go and see a doctor. Let's see here, and then we get to some more stuff. The other day we did a presentation and one of the parents challenged me, what does that mean that they can give medical advice and things like that without your knowledge? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a second, but be thinking. So let's go back to the SHAC real quick. So the Student Health Advisory Committee is a larger group, and in our subcommittees, Health Subcommittee, Peace Subcommittee, Nutrition Subcommittee, and the Sex Subcommittee is the most popular because it's where all the cool kids hang out. It's supposed to be made out of community members, parents have to be the majority, and we also have teachers and staff. So I was able to go to several of those meetings, and what I found most disturbing is that it wasn't mostly parents and teachers, it was mostly these folks. Project Worth, UT Teen Health, Healthy Futures, Janet Rellini, Northeast ISD SHAC, Diane Boyer, City of San Antonio, Teen Pregnancy Prevention Coalition, Mara Martinez. These are all our key players, and they were all at the meetings. Mara Martinez was at every single meeting I was at. He also presented to the SHAC, to the school board, and so he was very much involved. So when we have all these people, when I walk into the SHAC meeting, I sit down, here's a whole line of people with fancy names, UT Health Science Center, Metro Health. None of these people are parents. They are there to help influence the SHAC and coerce the SHAC. What they say is, hey, here are some programs. Why don't we look at these? And so all the parents and teachers who aren't professional sex educators say, sure, what do you have? So Mario presents his stuff, and they ask questions, and Mario looks like an expert, and it looks good. Let's pick this one. Unfortunately, what those parents don't know, I'll just give you all a little background here, is that some of the other folks on this SHAC, like Diane Boyard, she is a Northeast ISD nurse and on the board of Healthy Futures, which was started by Janet Rellini, who has started many, many other programs that have to do with drug-based sex ed programs, is that the information they're being given is limited. It's very limited. Let me get this. Sorry, my dumb face right there, but let me give you a visual.
Hey guys, this is Kelly Rachel. And I want to explain how the Child Science Center, the North Island Shack, and the City of San Antonio have anything in common when we're talking about sex ed. So bear with me, because it's a little bit confusing. I'm going to use the visuals to help. So this will represent our shack. And in our shack, surprisingly, when I got there to the meetings inside the table, I saw an organization who will be known as this funny guy right here, but really comes with a lot of different things. So there were several people, and some will be there on Sundays, but Mara Martinez is at least there all the time. And they're known as the Coalition to Prevent Teenage Pregnancy. Now there's a couple different groups that go with that. I'm just going to stick all these notes on here. There's Metro Health. You're going to see all these different names on all the different contracts. I'm going to show you City of San Antonio, Healthy Futures, right here. Let's see here, one more. Mario Martinez. Linda Hernandez, she's UT Health. We also have Janet Rellini, who is from some of the organizations I ran out of room. We're talking about the Futures, Project Worth, again, this coalition, and she will be the assistant teacher at North High School sex ed curriculum. So she has a lot to gain by having representation on the staff. So all of these folks who are represented in many different ways by this entity right here, the smiley guy, but possibly the one that surprised me the most was Diane Boyer. Now, she is actually a Northeast ISD nurse, but she is also on the board of Healthy Futures, and she is a board member on our SHAC. So she has a lot of influence in there. When I would go to the SHAC, Mario Martinez, and he's from Project Worth, Metro Health, City of San Antonio, would do a lot of this. He would present curriculum, he would answer questions. It really didn't seem like he was an expert. Now, he was an invited guest, but he definitely had a lot of say. And he would sometimes bring other folks with him from the Child Science Center or various other of the organizations that I mentioned. So when it came time to present the curriculum, draw line, respect the line to the SHAC, Mario Martinez did that. He did it pretty generally. There was a little, just a chart that had a few things filled in, like the objective, how long it would take to do objective, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. And then the SHAC, the entire SHAC, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, this was our sex. Now, the entire SHAC involves many subcommittees, including health and physical education and things like that. So the entire SHAC, after hearing Mario's presentation, decided to go that the deadline was run, although they had never read the curriculum. Mario Martinez had never presented anything for the curriculum, so just reading a couple of stories from it or showing a worksheet, nothing like that. They voted yes to it, and went to the school board. The school board also got a visit from Mario Martinez, and Janet Rellini was there, and Diane Boyard, and a whole bunch of folks. And Mario Martinez presented to the school board, again, the same kind of bland presentation, and the school board had not read the curriculum, and only asked questions, and I had an example read to them, voted yes, for all the lines specified.
And now from here, this is where we are. So what does all this mean? This means that now the dog line, respective line, has been adopted by the shack. We take a money trail on how all this happened. Now it gets confusing. But all those groups in that basket right there have something to do with I draw the line, respective line, adopted, especially finance center. So a tremendous amount of grant money was awarded to the Health Science Center to the tune of $10 million for a 5-year contract. Now what they need to do is find a school district who will allow them to implement this grant money and that's all this education curriculum. Who is that? NEiSD. So they sign an MOU with NEiSD, say they will cooperate with NEiSD, citizen of NEiSD will cooperate with UT Health Science Center to deliver the services sex ed program. However, UT Health Science Center can only teach a few different kinds of sex ed programs. That really limits what the shack can be exposed to when they're making the decision of which sex ed program to choose. So you can imagine Mario Martinez already brought the best of what he had at UT Health Science Center. So, UT Health Science Center, why do they care about getting the Northeast ISD? Simple. Because UT Health Science Center has a whole new program where they actually bring mobile health centers or they actually build a clinic to the campus. This way, all our kids, these, unsuspecting little ones, can walk themselves outside, go into this big old bus with all this has beautiful, graphics all over it, and get chemicals put in their body without their parents knowing. They can walk in, buy their condoms, they can walk in, get their birth control, and none of this is the parents' knowledge.
So I misspoke there. The bus is actually owned by Metro Health. Oops, sorry, I'm up too loud, aren't I? Is that better? Okay.
Just wake us all up.
Yeah, sorry. I put y'all asleep. Okay, so the bus is actually owned by Metro Health. And the reason I know that is because I called them today. So a parent challenged me the other day asking me, well, how do you know they can do all this without your parents' permission? So I called pretending to be 15, and I had a younger friend who was also interested in it. And I spoke to a wonderful woman, and she said, hi, how old are you? And I said, I'm 15, but I have a friend who's younger, and we're not sure if our parents are going to let us get birth control. No problem. You can come in today and get it today, Depo-Provera today. You don't even have to worry about it. Just come on in. It's a Metro Health initiative. Come on in. So we know this is happening. If you don't believe it, call yourself and pretend to be 13. It's very easy. What we have here is, does UT Health want to make our children their new clients? Yes. Why are they behind parents' backs and infiltrating the schools? Well, because if people are having sex, it's money for them, because what else is a teen health clinic going to make money on except teens having sex? So here they've actually built one in an actual campus. Here's the locations of all the ones around in a fancy website. Here's one where they come to your actual lunches and they bring student volunteers to give you all the different pamphlets you want about sex, anything. Even if your parents have signed the form that says they don't want you to participate in sex ed, they are allowed to come into your lunchroom and hand out all the sex ed information that you could ever want. Or Metro Health will send you a bus and you can walk right in and get all your different contraceptives and whatever you want. So you have to sign a form giving your school district permission to give your child an aspirin at school, but they can go inside without parental involvement or consent and get IUDs implanted. They can get the implants and get Depo-Provera, just like I was able to get over the phone. Is draw the line saying parents don't know what's best for their child? That's a very good question. I want y'all to think about it. Answer it for yourself on that one. After all this, does draw the line even work? The answer is not for girls. Draw the line by its own research does not work for girls. It marginally works for boys, but not for girls at all. And they followed them for over a year. Does not work for girls. So if we're going to pick any program, why not pick one that works for girls? So even if you want a program that passes out condoms, you still need to pick one that works when it passes out condoms. So if not draw the line, then what? Currently there's a list of approved evidence-based programs that Patrick talked about, Mike talked about too, I believe. We are asking the shack, go back to this list and pick a curriculum that better serves the students and parents of Northeast ISD. So, students, this curriculum can be the one they had last year, which was choosing the best, or it could be another one. There's lots on the list, about 34, 37. What can parents do? You can opt your child out. This is what the form will look like. There will be a checkbox. You can check no for your students being a part of this program. You can tell your principal you don't want to draw the line in your school. you can contact the school board and let them know you don't want your child subjected to it. And if the school board won't listen to you, you each have your own trustee based on what part of the district you live in. It's usually by high schools. I'm Johnson High School, so my person is Sandra. And if they won't protect your child, then you can vote them out. They work for you. And something else to really look at in the packet, it shows all the different grants that have been awarded. I talk about that $10 million grant. It's all here in various piecemeal kind of ways, but it all adds up. And then we have the contract from the city to Northeast ISD saying, Northeast intends to collaborate with the city during the planning phase to ensure school, parent, and community support. To ensure support. Where is the voting at the shack where parents are supposed to be able to exercise their right as parents? This was signed a full year before Draw the Line was actually voted on. So the school was already participating or collaborating with the city before this was even decided. It's kind of just baffling to me that this would even be a thing. But all right, those are all the examples in the packet. I encourage you to look them over. If you want to know more, or if you want to contact us, if you think anything we said, you have questions, here's our website, or you can see us afterwards.
Thank you, Kelly. That's great information. Real quick, we have some time for some questions. If you have any questions, we have Patrick and Kelly here that will do our very best to answer. Yes?
Question. This is an evidence-based program, right? That's
It
part
is.
of the issue.
That is,
Evidence-based.
yes. One of the 37 in Texas approved, yes.
Well, I would assume that an evidence-based program, whatever evidence or statistics were presented, would have involved the entire program. So how can they pick and choose and still remain with an evidence-based program?
Cal?
Excellent point. The whole point of having an evidence-based program is that the program in its entirety is evidence-based. If you start taking pieces out, it no longer can be titled that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you referred to the role play. Are in these activities, are the children themselves playing these roles? Are the children actually having their hands on the implements and are practicing these things?
Will depend a lot on what Northeast ISD decides, but that is a great question, and we want to encourage you to contact the school board and ask, because they have not decided to give us that
Because
information.
I'd be arrested if I took a child off the street and did these.
Yeah, please don't go in the library and talk about any of the stuff that's in here. It would not be good.
Secondly, do we know when they're going to be offering this to the children?
Usually in the spring, but again, they will not contact us and let us know.
You know, their silence. Their silence. You know, they're saying we want a consensus. We want to hear from parents. We want to do all the. Yet their silence to parents is concerning. We don't know what they're going to do. But we're requesting, just so you know, stay tuned. Go to the website. We're doing everything we possibly can to help concerned families and parents and grandparents like you. Other questions? Yeah.
Years ago, I understood that latex condoms, have microscopic holes in them. It's part of, the way it's manufactured, made, and that they do not prevent STDs or HIV. Keep them in other words.
Yeah, it's well known. You guys can speak to this. It's well known that a virus is something like 100 times smaller than the molecule makeup of the latex.
Yeah.
So it actually but what it does do is it does catch the semen.
That's all.
So, in today's world, it's kind of sick, okay? Because if you think about the green cars, as long as you're not seeing fuel come out, it's got to be green. And of course, the science is that it takes 2 times more pollution at the power plant burning coal to fuel that, okay? But if you don't see it, then you're feeling green, okay? So it's kind of the same thing. If you're seeing it, it's got to be okay. Other questions?
It's actually criminal, because to convey the message that the latex condom, okay, the porosity is 50 times larger than the size of the AIDS virus. So it's criminal to suggest that that's going to keep children safe. It's criminal.
Other questions? Okay, I think we did it, Kelly. We're adjourned, and please take note of the website. Call us if you have any questions. We do encourage you to call the Northeast Independent School District. Know that